Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and welcome back to my review for chapter 216 of Tokyo Revengers. If you guys are new around here or want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews, spoilers, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also be sure to leave a like on the video as well, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But enough of that, let's get into this chapter. So, I'm not gonna lie, this chapter is actually insane, and I think it's gonna blow a lot of people's minds and affirm a lot of assumptions that we've had for the last few chapters regarding a few people within Brahmin, mainly Akashi Senju. So the chapter starts off exactly where we left off in Harachiyo, and Takemichi's asking who to the person that's just pronounced or announced his name in the public there, and that person says, "Hey, that's kind of rude. It's me, Senju. You promised me yesterday, right?" And Takemichi, as surprised as we all were last week, exclaims that Kawaragi is actually a girl, which is blowing his mind, along with, all of ours as well. So we can see exactly where he's coming from, and it's finally confirmed that Kawaragi Senju is actually a girl, and she was wearing that uniform to, I guess, somewhat hide her figure or her frame. And she annoyingly says back to Takemichi, you got a problem with that? You're being too noisy. Like, he's just meant to be her gopher, I guess, and follow her around and carry her bags while they go shopping. And it turns out that this lady is one of the three deities, which Takemichi thinks is so cool. And I think a lot of people also think that's awesome as well, myself included, as this is the first time that we're seeing a main, I guess, female figure in this series, apart from Hina or Emma, but instead of just being like a side character and not part of a gang, this time they're actually the leader of an entire gang themselves, and someone who apparently is extremely strong. And according to her, they're going shopping today because Takomi told her to buy something that's more ladylike, or to do something that's more ladylike. Takemichi's like, "Takomi?" And she's like, "Yep, the second man of Brahmin. Brahmin are a bunch of old dudes, so it feels great to have someone my age joining." So obviously that's referring to the fact that Takemichi is around the age of Kawaragi. So we can assume that she's probably, a year or so younger than Takemichi. Just going off her uniform, I would assume that she's in high school as well, maybe. I'd love to know what you guys think, so make sure you comment down below and let me know what you guys will think about this chapter and where you expect it to go. And after, I guess, this bit of conversation they have, they shoot inside a store where Kawaragi starts to, I guess, buy a bunch of different items. And we even get a bit of a gag going on them where she goes to like try and do her kick thing, I guess, but ends up showing her panties to Takemichi, and he tells her to stop doing that because she's, I guess, embarrassing herself in public. And then they sprint onto the next store and then you see them sprinting onto the next store with Takemichi slowly on foot, carrying all her bags like the gopher he is for her. And something that I wanted to bring up that I saw in Twitter before the chapter was translated is the fact that the man standing outside the store that they've just seemed to have bought all these clothes from resembles Sanzu extremely, with the long white hair, the way that he bows, and then what looks like a mask on their face. Although you can't see it from here, it'd be extremely interesting if it was, but I highly doubt it, as I think Kawaragi would have picked up on it, as you'll find throughout the rest of this chapter, the relationship that these people actually end up having. And I guess while they're shopping, Takemichi asks her, how did you get to know Akashi? And Kawaragi replies with, "Get to know him? Like, question mark? What do you mean? What are you trying to say?" And Takemichi says, "I mean, he's the former member of the Black Dragons. He should be in his mid-20s, right? Meanwhile, you're a girl around my age, aren't you?" Obviously, again, referring to the fact on how, Brahmin is a group of dudes in their 20s and nearing their 30s, which is honestly, Brahmin is probably just a reconstruction of the original Black Dragons, in all honesty, with a new figurehead in Kawaragi Senju at the top, is what I'm actually assuming. Just by the way that things are going, I think. Especially the fact that we're now given the revelation that actually Akashi is the older brother of Kawaragi Senju, which could possibly mean that, Senju has grown up and admired what maybe her brother's done. And Takemichi, I guess, as surprised as we are all again, replies with, "Wait, what? You guys are siblings?" And Kawaragi replies with the fact that Kawaragi Senju is somewhat like a professional name to her, and not even her real name. Her real name is actually Akashi Senju, which is going to show that maybe Akashi's Takomi's name isn't even really his name either, and that is also just a front, or just a so-called professional name that he is using. And this is when it brings up something quite surprising again, where Senju says, she's like, "Got me thinking about Harachiyo," and obviously the only Harachiyo that we know is Harachiyo Sanzu. She says to Takemichi, "I think you know him. The former Tokyo Manji Gang 5th Division Vice President, Sanju Harachiyo." and she says that yes, he is my second brother. So she's the youngest, I'm assuming, of 3 siblings. She walks out and tells Takemichi this while she's still wearing her undergarments, giving Takemichi this animated expression like he's about to blow blood from his nose, like any old Japanese gag. And Takemichi asks Kawaragi if, Sanzu is in Brahman too, in which I guess Akashi Senju replies with that Harachiyo has no interest regarding me or Brahman's top. Even though I'm the strongest, and even when I'm endorsed by Takomi, he is never interested. That's why he is in the Kanto Majin gang. And this is when Takemichi, I guess, finds out, as we already all know, that he's part of the Kanto Majin gang in the future, or the majority of us do. He finally finds out now that this man here, Sanzu, is most likely someone that is extremely affecting Mikey's dark impulses and probably leading him down the worst road possible. Possibly, it's just a thought now, as Takemichi thinks that he's been in Mikey with every single future, and that this means the current Kanto Majin gang is actually Bonten in the future. So he's getting that realization that we've all known now for the last few chapters, or I guess since the start of this arc, that I guess Kanto Majin gang actually turns into Bonten in the future, with I guess a few different members of each gang forming to make this new gang in the future. And Takemichi says, he's glad that he's joined Brahman as, one mystery towards, I guess, fixing this entire ordeal is now solved. And after this entire conversation, they head off. Both Senju and Takemichi grab some ice creams from an ice cream vendor, and Takemichi kind of makes fun of her for it looking like she's a baby while sucking on the ice cream because it looks like a pacifier that she's got in her mouth. And as she's heading off, she tells Takemichi, let's get Choco Mint together again. And Takemichi says, on me, it's a promise. And as Senju walks off, she throws her, I guess, rubbish to her gopher Takemichi, who says that he's going to chuck it in the rubbish for her. And as this happens, as Takemichi catches the stick from her ice block, he gets this kind of flash forward, a little bit like, I guess, when Eren shakes Historia's hand in Attack on Titan and finally gets that flash forward, or that, insight that he got then. Takemichi gets an insight to the future and sees something that happens between him and Senju. And we get a panel where it seems like Senju is lying on the ground while bleeding out, or it possibly is even Takemichi bleeding out from his chest. It's still kind of hard to see from this angle. And obviously it flashes back from that and leaves us with Takemichi confused, thinking like, what the hell was that vision? And I think we're all just as confused, as in that vision we get this beautiful picture of Sanzu lying on the ground, bawling her eyes out, looking like she's bleeding from the head as well. So I assume that this is the point where Sanju most likely dies in the past, as she's unseen in the future at this current point. But yeah, I'd love to know what you all think. It's awesome to find out that finally it's 100% confirmed that Senju is a girl. But yeah, as I've just said, I'd love to know what you guys all think down in the comment section below. And if you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews, spoilers, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to leave a like on the video as well, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, enough of that. For now, it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.